Well, hello there. It feels like it's been such a long time since I've done one of these vloggy updates videos, and a while ago I had told you about Penny and Nickel, but I realized that I never gave you any updates on here. I had updated Instagram, but if you don't follow me there, which you definitely should, then you wouldn't have heard those updates. So today we have lots to talk about. There's Nickel, Penny, the rabbits bonding, as well as the pet room itself. We have lots of topics to cover. Let's start off by going and finding the cats. Sadie, as you can see, is doing very well. We don't have really that many updates over on the cats because the cats are just cats, so nothing really ever is new with them, which is low-key a good thing. And then we have Mr. JJ. He's just taking a nap on the kitchen stool. Hey. He is also doing very good. I know some of you will find this boring, but I hope you don't mind. I wanted to show you some of my plant updates and some of the new plant babies that I've added to my collection. So the first one is my living stone plant. My boyfriend actually got me this one and I love it. They are just the coolest succulents ever. It is also right beside my split rock succulent, which is also super duper cool. Then we have my fiddle leaf fig that has put out some new leaves. This one, and then it's putting out a new leaf down there. And then I think this one's next. Usually you can tell if a new leaf is coming because it'll be like this little pale bit will be sticking out. And then I have this philodendron. I can't remember the exact name of it, but I have that one. And this is my Swiss cheese plant. It's just growing up. I want it to like go around my desk area. And my birds of paradise is like getting massive. It's getting very close to the top of the ceiling. And as you can see right there, we have a new leaf coming in. The next thing that I have to show you guys is that I actually went ahead and repainted my entire pet room back in April when I was taking my break from YouTube. So here is the brand new painted room. I am so happy with the way that this green wall turned out. I, for a while, kind of wanted to switch up the pet room's color. It used to be, if you don't remember, a sandrock color, and I was just tired of it. I had it like that for 4 years. So I kind of did an AI generation of the room with a green wall to see if it would actually look good, and I really liked it. So I went ahead, moved all the pets out, and just went to town painting, and we did the half green wall then with a white wall, and the rest of the room also is now white as well, which took literally forever, and I will never paint white again. And then after I had created Penny's new enclosure, I had a couple of people asking me what the layout of the pet room would look like because this enclosure is a lot larger than his previous one. So I'll quickly give you a little overview of what the pet room looks like currently. The Night Angel enclosure, I actually had different plans for it, and I had originally, once I was going to make Penny's enclosure this long, I was going to make the Night Angels into a complete square, which is a possibility with these stacker enclosures. You don't have to have them long and narrow. You could just have them like literally a complete, or almost a complete square. And so I went ahead and did that, and I Hated it. I will insert a picture of what that kind of looked like, but it just looked very like just crowded in here, and like I kind of just shoved everything in. I don't know how to really explain it, but I hated it. So then I was like, nope, we are just gonna go back to how the night angel enclosures were. Instead of like putting the night angel enclosure on like the opposite long wall, which I did have it at one point, and then Penny's enclosure on the side, I didn't like that either. I like being able to stand in the doorway and see both cages. I don't know what it is, but it just like makes it look more open, I guess you could say. So that is currently what the layout of the pet room is. And now we can talk about the bunnies, because you probably noticed a certain someone in here. Bunnies! Oh, I forgot. Cleo is deaf, so she can't hear any noise. Oh, you've fallen off. There you go. They're so tiny. So the rabbits were put into the pet room. I think it was on Sunday. I went ahead and moved them. My boyfriend was having a lot of allergy issues. He is allergic to pets, which is shocking. Victoria, why would you date somebody who's allergic to pets when you literally have like 8 pets? Well, he's not deathly allergic, and he also chose to date someone who has a lot of pets. So he puts up with it. But he's not really affected when they're in this room. He was more so affected when they were in the bathroom. So we went ahead and moved them into the pet room because they were doing really good with the entire bathroom space together. And because this is Cleo's territory and I can't 100% make it a neutral space because she's lived here for like 4 years, I went ahead and started them off into a little pen with the litter box and hay box so they could get all the smells, because if I had just put them in here without doing that, I know for a fact it wouldn't have ended well, because Cleo would be like, hey, this is my territory and I actually don't like you. But they were in the pen for about, I think it was like 1.5 days, and then we moved them completely together in the room. Cleo and Sage actually has been my easiest bond yet, and they have been my pair to be the most in love with each other. It's actually insane how much they will like spend time with each other. They will flop on the ground beside each other, or they'll just like go and snuggle, or they'll groom each other's faces very equally. It's not one-sided. It's like Sage will groom her face and then she'll groom his face, and it's very cute, and they very much so are girlfriend and boyfriend, I would say. It's also been super interesting having a rabbit who has ears that are up instead of down, because Cleo is deaf. Lola was also deaf, and they didn't react to noises at all. Like, Cleo doesn't hear. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, she's literally deaf, so nothing bothers her. Whereas Sage, the first night that he was in the pet room, because he has these large satellite discs on his head, he heard a noise that he hadn't heard yet in our house, and he got so scared that he was thumping his foot, and he was thumping on the hardwood part. So it was like 11 p.m. and I was worried about, 1, his foot, and 2, our downstairs neighbors were gonna be like, what the heck are they doing? So I had to go ahead and like lay down a bunch of fleece blankets so that when he did thump, it would at least be cushioned. So Penny is our first hamster awake, so we'll start with his updates. Hi, big boy. You gonna say hi to everybody? Say hello. So the last time you guys heard about Penny, he had gone to the vets for reoccurring fur loss, and the vet basically just manhandled him and gave us no answers. We came home with some Revolution treatment, and I went ahead and I treated him using that. And 3 days after treating him with that, I kind of spiraled, and I was convinced that he had cancer. but it really wasn't long enough to be able to tell if his hair was regrowing. And then I also was deciding if I was going to take him in with Nickel to get a second opinion. His hair, in fact, did start regrowing, so I decided against getting him a second opinion because I just didn't want to stress him out, especially if his hair was regrowing, right? Your hair is regrowing. I don't know if you guys can tell, but his hair has become a lot more fluffy. You can kind of see the fluffiness is kind of come back, and all of the places that he had lost his hair originally has grown back. He's just pretty much growing the last little bit on his head back, which I think you can kind of see there. Where it's gray is where it's growing back. The only thing is his hair just isn't as thick and luscious as it used to be. It just kind of seems a little bit like dull, but I'm not gonna complain about it because it has grown back. We are giving him some supplements. I make him this little hamster porridge, and then we have some supplements that I've seen others use when their hamsters are aging. Where are you going? Where are you going? And I think that has been what has really been helping his coat to grow back nice and long, but he doesn't seem to be losing any more hair, so that is a plus. You may have noticed that I've also put on top of his paper bedding this really thinly shredded aspen. This is from Night Angel, and I just really like the look of it. So I wanted to put it on top of the paper bedding, and I also did it to the dwarf cages too. Because the dwarf hamsters went from having a rectangle to a square back to a rectangle shaped enclosure, I did get a chance to kind of rearrange their enclosures just a little bit. So I'll show you Toonie's, and if we get the chance to actually see her tonight, I will overlay that footage right now. And if you get to see a Toonie in person, it is extremely good luck. And if we don't see her, then I'll just overlay the security cam footage. So this is just what this side looks like. She's got her little sand bath in a jar that she really loves with some staircases that I made. And then her big sand bath is just back over there. And this is a different wheel. This is an 11-inch, I think, or it might be 10-inch Night Angel wheel. It at one point had cork on it, but it had been so peed on, I just took it off, and underneath is acrylic, so I was like, I guess this could work as a wheel. And she actually has really no issues at all controlling this wheel. Like, she can stop it whenever she wants, so it's been working great for her. And then just on this side of the enclosure, she's got like a little cork log, little dig box there. I think that has cake hub granules in it. And then there is a chamber hide, of course, and then her little secret chamber down there. Can you guys spot Nickel? He's right there. Hi.
Hi. How are you doing? You're doing a good boy. Yeah, it's a good boy.
Okay, so the last you guys had heard about Nickel here was that he had a prolapse penis. We went ahead and went for a second opinion with a different vet, and she decided to do an x-ray to check if there was anything causing it. There wasn't. So then our next decision was, while he was under, was to put a suture in it to hold it in place. And then she said in 3 weeks, come back and we will take it out if it is still there. She did say that it was very possible that the suture would get chewed out because he's a little rodent and rodents like to chew. But I was very hopeful that it was gonna stay in because the first couple of days he left it alone, he didn't touch it. Then I think like a week goes by and then one day I noticed it pop back out and I was like, oh no, did he chew the suture out? Then the day after that, it went back in. So I was like, oh, I don't know what that was, but I think the suture's still in. It was very hard to check because he's very wiggly. And so then fast forward 3 weeks, I'm like, okay, time to bring him back into the vet's to take the suture out. The vet goes to take a look at him, and her assistant is holding him on his back, and there's no suture, right? You took out your own suture. You said, I'm gonna save my mom some money and I'm gonna do it myself. Which was very thoughtful of you, Nickel. But maybe next time you could leave it, just in case. But anywho, he is all better, which is so good to know because I was really worried about Nickel. He is such a special little dwarfie and I didn't want anything to happen to him because I wasn't ready to say goodbye to him yet because you're such a joy to have. Are you attacking some flax sprays? You can do it. You can reach. So this is what Nickel's enclosure currently looks like. He's got his multi-chamber hide. And then over there we have like a platform and then some of his substrate dishes. He has this substrate dish with cork granules that I made myself. And then he has his wheel. And then way back there, you guys can't even see it. Right there is his sand bath, which he's so happy to have back. So Penny wanted to be the one to say goodbye to you guys, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this long updates video, and I hope to see you in our next one. Bye! Excuse me! Excuse me!